anybody tell you it doesn't matter who you vote for. Politics does matter, and so I came on board, and they asked me, what do you want to do with this land back here? And I said, well, let's make it an urban farm. And so we are developing a 10-acre urban farm. Now, we've already won national awards for this farm, and I want to tell you what happened. As we were purchasing this land and clearing this land, I pushed forward $2 million in 2020 during the pandemic because I wanted to create an acre of land to give fresh fruits and vegetables to families who had lost their jobs in the pandemic. And we have many people, you know, the famous Alamo Dome picture of the lines of folks who needed food. And I became concerned about supply chains of food being cut off, right? Like, we didn't know if there was an outbreak in Arkansas when we get our Tyson's chickens. You know, there was some talk that cities may close themselves off to each other. And so I said, my people in Precinct 4 in around Bexar County, they need to have food supply, so we're going to expedite this land. And we pushed forward, and we gave away 25,000 pounds of fresh fruits and vegetables and super greens. And we won an award in Denver, Colorado with the National Association of Counties, thanks to the partnership of the Master Gardeners, the Texas Ag Extension Service, and many community partners who helped us get this done. So this land is going to be a very special place. You're in the outdoor classroom, but we're going to build a $14 million office for the Agricultural Extension Service. You'll have about 25 employees here, and all of the programs that they do. They teach everything from inner-city 4-H to leadership and falconry and how to make beer and wine. There's all kinds of good stuff. Today we're going to stick to the wellness part. So we're going to learn the power, I think, of spinach and some other fruits and vegetables. We also will have, some of you may not, I mean, most people don't know what a county commissioner does. That's okay, I didn't know before I got into commissioner. But we're over the justice system and the healthcare system. So you've heard of the university health system. So I oversee the university hospital and the 29 clinics and the budget and tax rate of the university health system. And so I believe food is medicine. I know a lot of you do too. And so we're going to teach people which foods help particular ailments. If you got heart disease, if you have diabetes, if you have eye issues, whatever it is, we're going to connect some dots for folks, because we know a lot of folks may not know how these vegetables and fruits and foods can impact their health outcomes. And we want to monitor it, we want to watch it over the years, we want to see the development of people's health improve in these grounds. So we hope it'll be a place where you can recreate if you want to come and help us plant and harvest and move about in your body with your family, multi-generational. We want to see youth programs and inner-city 4-H. We want to see programs that help senior citizens and families. We want to help reduce their grocery bill, because we know how high the cost of food is today. All of that can be done on these lands. But something else, we're going to make some revenue from this. Okay, we're going to make some revenue by having an event center. So we're going to have an event center here for 300 folks. There'll be a glass wall in the back that overlooks Meander Creek, which is behind us. It's beautiful. The land is really beautiful back there. It's been hidden and kind of overgrown and dilapidated. People haven't seen the natural beauty. So you'll be able to have weddings here. You'll be able to have quinceañeras. You'll be able to have family reunions, company corporate functions, and teaching and hear great speeches about how do we do great things with our land. So I hope that you will spread the word that something really special is happening here, and I am just so excited to have it. My mother is supposed to be here. She hasn't made it yet, but I'm going to give her a little credit before she comes in. She's probably going to walk through. My grandfather was a farmer, and I grew up in my household. I landscaped the whole house. I grew stuff, and so for me, I learned a lot about hard work ethic on the land, growing food, harvesting things in 100-degree heat, and that's good for politics because there's a lot of heat in politics. So it's come in handy. But I think you'll find that we can teach the things here for people to take to their home, and we'll create what we call agri-hoods. So we have neighborhoods full of agriculture where we give away seeds, and you can be empowered in your own home to cut your grocery bill with what you grow. So this land is being restored to the way it was historically. The east side was kind of like a breadbasket for this whole county. My neighborhood, Willow Woods, I live exit away off of AT&T Frost Parkway in a neighborhood called Willow Woods. That was a Vandy Waller farm. That was all farmland out here. right? Remember the farmer's daughter back in the day, right? It was some country stuff that was going on down here. So we're just doing our part to be good stewards of the land, and we look forward to the great education that's going to happen. So welcome to Wellness Wednesday.
Going to do a smoothie, as you can see. But before we get to our smoothie, one thing I always like to do when we do our nutrition classes out in the community, we talk a little bit about food safety. Food safety is really important because what can happen? Anybody guess? Bacteria. We can get sick. How many of you have ever had food poisoning? Or you got sick from somewhere you ate, a restaurant, you call someone, did your stomach hurt,
Gotta watch the potato salad.
Yeah, right? So I like to do a little bit of reviewing our food safety rules, and we teach this to adults and we teach this to youth. There's 4 main rules we're going to talk about, and then we'll get to our smoothie, and then the fun part, you actually get to taste it. So it's going to be very easy to make. It's going to have a lot of the ingredients you might have already at home. So the first thing I want to talk about, there's 4 main rules we talk about. The first one is clean. So question for y'all. What do you do before you touch anything in the kitchen, before you prepare anything? Wash your hands. Does anybody know how many seconds? What's the rule?
20 seconds.
20 seconds or happy birthday or ABCs to me. Believe me. And we practice with the kids as well as adults. And if you have any kind of rings or jewelry, be careful because you know what? That bacteria can stay in there and you can't see it. So you want to make sure clean. Another thing, what do we do to our fruit and vegetables before we eat them? Wash them. Rinse them out. How many of you ever filled a potato before? You kind of feel the dirt, you rinse it, you see the water turn brown. You can use your colander or strainer, put your veggies in there, your fruits, and make sure you rinse them out. Or one thing I always say, you can use a toothbrush for fruits and vegetables to actually scrub them. And I have a potato over here. You want to go a step further and actually scrub your fruit and vegetables. If you don't have one, you can just rinse them out. We recommend no chemicals, just water. Or even if you have a napkin or a sponge, you can kind of clean them under the water. Another thing you want to do, you want to clean your area. And before we set anything on the table, you actually clean it with a wipey, sanitize it. You want to make sure your area, your sink is nice and clean to prevent cross-contamination. The next rule is separate. How many of you have cutting boards at home? Anybody have cutting boards? They're all kinds. Now they have them color-coded. There's some that are red for fruit. You have a green one for your vegetables, blue for fish. You have wood cutting boards, you have glass, and you have plastic. So I have a question for you. Which one would be the best type of cutting board to use? What do you think would be the safest? Glass would be the safest. The wood would be the last because, after you cut in, it leaves those little grooves. And think about if you're cutting raw chicken, some of that blood going in there. You might wash it, but something might still stay there. You cut your apples and it absorbs it. So it can cross-contaminate. If you only have one, always cut your fruit and vegetables first. Wash it, hot soapy water, and then at the very end, you want to cut your raw meats or proteins, right? All right, so that is separate. Next is cook. How many use a meat thermometer? Anybody use one at home? Okay. Nowadays, they're all kind. There's some that are digital, very easy, or you have the old-fashioned kind. But it's really important to use it for your different types of protein or meats that you're going to cook. So I have a question for you. If we had a nice brown turkey right now, does that mean it's ready to eat? No, we got to see the internal temperature. And all types of protein or meats are cooked at different temperatures. Before you leave today, make sure you get one of these. This is our food safety, and it has all the rules that I just talked about. So make sure you take one. And also, before you leave, I have some little magnets up here that tells you the different temperatures of your different proteins. You can just put it on your refrigerator. We have some English and Spanish if you'd like. So that is good. Oh, I forgot to show you. So this is a pretend, and I want to repeat, pretend piece of chicken. Everybody sees it. What are you doing with the chicken out here, Angie? We're talking about food safety, right? Well, this is just pretend, but this is just to demonstrate when you use your meat thermometer, there's actually an indentation to show you how far to go in. And one of the things to recommend, not to go close to the bone or the nerve, because the reading is not going to be right. You want to go to the thickest part of that particular meat and go as far as the indentation, and it'll tell you the reading, okay? Now, when I teach this to kids, I always tell them, make sure you tell an adult. I don't want a child to go and then use it and then burn themselves. So we always say with the supervision of a parent. All right. The last rule is chill. How many of you have a thermometer in your refrigerator or in your freezer? Okay. Really important because again, if it starts to warm up in there, bacteria can start to grow. You're not going to see it. You eat the food, you might get sick. Does anybody know what's the temperature of your refrigerator should be? Anybody? It should be 40 degrees or lower. And what about your freezer? What degrees should your freezer be? It should be 0 degrees, okay? A lot of refrigerators now, they already have the little digital, it tells you, but if you don't, you can always use one in here. Sorry about that. All right. Okay, so we went over the 4 rules. Oh, and I forgot also, if you take lunch anywhere, especially with the kids, or you go on a picnic, make sure to put an ice pack. If you don't have an ice pack, you can get a little Ziploc bag, put some ice cubes, and use that. Because if it starts to get warm, what can happen? The bacteria. And think about here in San Antonio, right? It's hot. Think about your barbecues, like Commissioner was saying. Think about the potato salad out on the barbecue. We want to make sure it stays nice and chill. We don't want it to get warm because bacteria can start to grow. Yes, honey.
I learned something every time. But I use vinegar when I wash things. And you said vinegar, okay.
Yes, vinegar is okay to rinse them out. I've heard people ask me, can I use bleach to rinse out my fruit and vegetables? No. Because think about it, if you're soaking your tomatoes and there's a little cut in there, it's going to saturate it. You're going to eat it. It might taste a little funny. You're going to eat it. You might get sick. So no chemicals as in your bleach or other things like that. I know they sell like a spray sometimes for your fruit and vegetables. That's safe to use. But I usually just say the best thing to do is just do it with water to be safe. Okay? All right. Any other questions? All right. Now, are we ready to start with the recipe? Yeah. Well, I think it's too quiet. Are you guys ready? Yeah. Okay. So what we're gonna do, if you like spinach, okay? So I have a question for y'all. Vegetable is the #1 food group we all do not eat enough. Not only adults, but kids. So I have a question for y'all. Does anybody know, based on a 2,000 calorie, how many cups of vegetables should we have in a day? 5 maybe?
3 to 4.
3. It's actually recommended 2.5 cups. So this represents 1 cup, 2 cups, and a half. Okay? So does that seem like a lot for you?
No.
I mean, if you try to eat it at one time, it's probably going to seem like a lot. But can you have a little bit of vegetables with your breakfast? Yeah. Who can give me an example? What vegetable can you eat with your breakfast? What would you say? Tomatoes, avocado toast, or maybe an omelet, right? Or even a smoothie. Can we have a little bit of vegetables for lunch?
Yep.
Yes. What about for dinner?
Yes.
And can we have vegetables for a snack?
Yeah.
Definitely. So if you eat a little bit throughout the day, can you get your 2.5? Okay. So we have lots of programs that teach about different types of nutrition. We also teach for kids. We want to encourage them to eat vegetables as well as adults. So one of the first ingredients I'm going to add to my smoothie. Let me take this off. And we're going to use spinach. For this recipe, you can use fresh spinach or you can use frozen spinach. So I'm actually going to measure out 1 cup of frozen spinach. And what I did, I actually thawed it out a little bit. And even if you have fresh spinach, sometimes we have left over from a salad, you can use your fresh spinach. So I'm going to add 1 cup of spinach into the blender. Make sure it's all out. And this is a good way to vary your veggies. A lot of times we're picky when it comes to vegetables, especially kids, right? It's a good way to kind of mix it up, not only with vegetables, but different fruits. Vary your veggies come in different forms. If you see up here, we have a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables. They come frozen. They also come in a can. Anybody likes to drink your vegetables like a V8 or tomato juice? All you have to do is make sure you look at the label because we want to make sure we don't want something that's high sodium. Especially if you're watching your high blood pressure, high cholesterol, you want to pick low sodium. And they do have a low sodium tomato juice or even a V8. How many of you have ever seen a V8 that's mixed with fruit and vegetables, right? That's a good way to kind of incorporate both. All right, next ingredients, we're going to do 1 cup of strawberries, and you can use fresh strawberries. I am measuring out, I actually use frozen strawberries and I let them thaw out a little bit. So I'm going to put 1 cup. And right now strawberries are in season, if you see at the grocery store. So here's my 1 cup. Next, it actually calls this recipe, you can do, it calls for low fat milk, but I'm actually going to substitute it and I'm going to use some almond milk or soy milk. We recommend if you are going to use any dairy products, try to shoot for the fat-free or low-fat. How many of you drink low-fat milk, fat-free milk? And some of us still drink whole milk, but whole milk is going to have more fat versus your low-fat and your fat-free. So the next thing I'm going to do measured out 1 cup of the almond milk. Now, question, if you had other vegetables and fruit, can you just kind of throw them in there? Do you have to measure them? Not really, especially if you have some, that've been there for a while, like, what am I going to do with it? Cut up your apples or grapes or any other kind of fruit to mix it up with your vegetables. But it's going to call for a banana. Yes, ma'am. You can if you like, or if not, you can put it in a Ziploc bag, but just make sure to take all the air out. And then I would recommend to label. The question is, can you freeze the spinach, right? So you want to make sure you label it. I don't know if you ever gotten something out of the freezer and you're like, what's this? Because you forgot to put the name or the date, right? All right. So I got my banana, I got my soy milk, I got my strawberries. Anything else we could add, right? So there's so many different choices, but that's all it calls for, and we're ready to go. Now the reason I use the frozen kind and thaw it out because it's nice and cold, and I like a smoothie when it's nice and cold, especially here, right, when it's hot, you want something refreshing, but you're always welcome to use that fresh as well. So are you guys ready to try it? Mm-hmm. All right, so you're all gonna get a sample, and it's coming out, and I'll be serving some more over here. So if you just give me a second, you have the synopsis, Michelle? Getting the recipe card. It's gonna have different types of recipes that you can use for spinach, like spinach quesadilla, and then also gives you some tips on how to store your spinach. You can freeze it, and another thing is just the different types of vitamins you get. Vegetables and fruit contain lots of vitamins, and some of the main ones that you're gonna get from today's smoothie is vitamin A. Vitamin A helps with your vision. It also helps with your skin. You want nice complexion, soft skin. You get vitamin C. A lot of your berries also contain vitamin C. Your tomatoes, your strawberries are going to have vitamin C. It helps fight infections. It helps keep healthy gums. And then, is it coming out? Okay, coming out. And then another one is like vitamin A I was mentioning for carrots. Have you ever heard someone tell you eat all your carrots for good eyesight? Well, that's vitamin A. And you'll find it as well in your spinach and your strawberries. And then with the almond milk or your soy milk is going to have the same type of nutrients like your other milks. It's going to have calcium and vitamin D. The only difference is low fat. Go ahead. And we have our Healthy Texas Youth Ambassadors. They're going to be passing out a sample for you to try. Yes, you can freeze your bananas. I know. Also use water. It doesn't have to be a dairy product. You can substitute with water as well. Commissioner's over here serving some.
Spread it out.
Emma.
Oh, they're on Thank you so much.
Okay, Mama. You got one already? You guys, everybody? Okay, well then let's get up. Here you are. There you go. Here you go. You got some already? Okay. Okay, here you go. That's right, that's right.
Oh, yeah, that's all right.
Mama Foundation.
No, I was just gonna say, if you're making these for kids, what I learned with mine when they were little, they didn't like the color. slice it up and freeze that, and then every time I make a smoothie, you add one slice of the red
To give it
beet,
the.
and the red color makes it more punchy.
Yes, yes.
And they never knew the difference. You're doing a good trick, and you're giving this to people that don't like green stuff.
Good idea.
Yes, you know, some of them are visual, they see it, they're automatically like, ugh. Yeah. So how was it?
Delicious.
So believe it or not, you're getting your veggies in, and you're getting some fruit and vegetables all mixed, and you're getting your fiber as well. Does anybody know what fiber is for? This is a part when I ask kids, and they're like, ugh.
For good digestion.
Excellent, thank you, Veronica. It's good digestion, helps you stay full, gives you energy to move around, and helps you, yes, stay regular is another word. You can imagine the kids at the schools when we teach this, you know what they say, right? But we would like to thank you for coming out here to our first Wellness Wednesday. We'll be having one every month for the next 6 months, the second Wednesday of the month. There'll be a different topic. We'll have men's health, we'll have child obesity, mental wellness. So we hope you can make it. On your way out, you're gonna get a goodie bag, and you are actually gonna get one of these, which is your vegetable brush, and on the other side is a peeler, so you'll get one today. You'll also get the recipe, and we do have them in English and Spanish, like I mentioned. It has different recipes in the bag, how to care for your spinach, and then we also have this little leaflet that tells you how to encourage eating fruit and veggies. We want to make sure, try to go for the rainbow color, as you can see up here, right? So thank you for coming. Yes, ma'am, you have a question?
Yes. So we do we need to register each time or it's
Yes, each time you can register, and there's going to be a flyer, and we have it up here too. It's going to be in your goodie bag. It has a QR code. If you want to come for next month, just register and come on down. We want to make sure everyone sees what we have out here in our future home. You can see our map up here. It has the event center, like Commissioner said, our offices, and we're so excited. So again, thank you so much for coming today.
What's the
We
topic
have
next
seconds.
month?
Yes.
What's the topic next month?
It's public health. It's
Yay.
public health month. So we're gonna have like a resource fair. So come out so you can see different things that Bexar County offers and other agencies. Any questions or Commissioner? Any words? Where's Commissioner?
Right here.
Any words?
Well, I just want to thank you. It was delicious. I appreciate it. It's nutritious. I'll be regular all day. Appreciate you all coming out, and enjoy the grounds while you're here.
Thank you so